welcome to the Packers offensive breakdown of their game against the Philadelphia Eagles in the wild card matchup. Obviously, this was a horrific performance. He had 11 possessions in total, only 2 scores in this game. The defense did their job, but we'll break down the defense and the special teams in a separate video. But the average starting field position of the Packers offense was the 23-yard line. So special teams did not help. And especially, looking at the first kick return, but we'll talk about that in the defensive video. So let's dive into the film, see what happened for the Packers offense and why they were not able to win this game. All right, first play here is a 3rd down, and Jenkins just gets beat, enforces this pressure. So we're going to see Love. He drops back, eyes reading the safeties first, and he's going to check to the left. All right, he's got 4 on 3 on the left side. You've got 3 on 2 on the right side. And there's just nothing there. And you get early pressure. And if he's able to get out to the right here, he might be able to get a play with Reed and Dobbs. But that pressure coming in, he's going to be forced to spin out to the opposite side. And there's just going to be nothing there. All right, so bumps in. Jenkins tries to make a recovery there. He could check it down here. And I think this is probably what he should have done, given Jacobs' ability. I think he should check it down here, but he sees his receiver breaking vertical, and this is why he's going to launch that deep. And as soon as that happens, receiver's going to break down here and turn that into a comeback, because again, it is 3rd down. Receiver's thinking, oh, let me just go to the sticks, and they're just not on the same page here. I think he probably has a chance here if he just stacks them a little bit on the inside, continues vertical, and it's just miscommunication there. Like, you either take that shot downfield, you continue getting vertical there, Wicks, or you check it down and you try to break one tackle to get the 1st down. Neither of those happens, and of course, it's going to be a punt. All right, next play. This is the play that Jenkins is going to get hurt on. You've got Jenkins who's going to be pulling, and he's just going to get basically helmet to shoulder here by Smith. And we're going to highlight this guy. Nakobe Dean was a problem for the Packers for the majority of the game. And it was the case in the first game against the Eagles as well. But even more so a problem here until he left the game injured. So let's take a look at this play, see what happens. Got that motion. And then just look at Dean here firing in. So Smith does a good job here. He's got to attack that puller. All right, so he's making sure that kick out doesn't happen, and it clogs up the space here for the running back. And then Brooks is not going to have any space because Dean recognizes that pull from footage. He's going to hit that lead blocker, get an arm, and that's going to cause a tackle for a minimal gain. And of course, Jenkins goes out on this play with an injury, and that was just the start of the Packers' issues. So we saw Jenkins before didn't have a great pass set. Now he goes out of the game injured with that shoulder, and the offensive line is going to be in shambles after that. All right, next play, we've got Zach Tom just getting absolutely beat here on the right tackle position. He's going to overset because he knows that Nolan Smith is a little bit speedy, and then he's just going to jump inside. He tries to reach with the hands instead of moving the feet, and he's not going to be able to stay with him. And Smith just able to get the ankles of Love as he's rolling out. I think you do have an option here at the bottom of the screen if he's got a half second more. If Tom is able to slide his feet instead of reaching here, right, because he reaches and stumbles, but if he's able to slide, he might be able to get a hip check and force Smith to take another step around him. And hopefully that would be enough, right? Game of inches, that would be enough. But I also think that Reed here at the bottom does not do himself any favors, right? He's running this comeback route, and he's going to sell this vertical at the start, but then he stops. He's going to do a little bit of a stutter and go, and that allows the DB to close any of that separation. So as soon as he breaks down again, now the DB can get his hands on him. I think if he is able to continue selling vertical here, and forces him to get up, right, that DB is going to be in a worse position when he breaks down the second time, and he's not going to be able to slow him down here. But of course, Reed does a good job of fighting those hands, creating some separation, giving himself room to come back to the sticks. I think that's where Love was probably going to go if he doesn't get sacked here. But again, Packers offensive line not looking great in this game. All right, up next, this is the interception, the first interception by Jordan Love. Let's see, offensive line creates a decent pocket here. And then we've got a 1-on-1 on the outside. And what Wicks needs to do here, and this is what LaFleur was talking about in his press conference, he does a good job here of kind of stemming to the outside. I would like him to probably stem a little bit more to the outside, close the distance before breaking out. All right. And then he mentions the restack. And restacking is you've got to get in front of him, right, and stack him. All right, so DB is here. You've got to make sure that you end up here. And that is going to make sure that this ball, the ball coming in here, if it's inside, you're going to be fine. Right? And he is not able to restack here, get in front. Right? Because if he gets in front of Slay here, it's going to make that play a little bit tougher, potentially draw in a penalty. But instead, I think we'll see it from the opposite angle. Right? Slay is able to get his arm inside and get that position to kind of box him out. Right? Whereas if you stack him, he's not going to be able to get in that position to box out and make that play. So we'll watch it from the end zone angle as well. Eventually, there's going to be a snap. Got the motion. There's a snap. Good pocket to step up into. You can see he's starting to drift away here instead of trying to restack. And if you notice Slay's arm, he's now able to grab that arm to kind of slingshot him forward. All right, so he's grabbing that arm to give himself some leverage. All right, and you can see how it slingshots him into that position. Right, and he can see the eyes. He knows the ball is coming. He can see Wicks tracking the ball. And that's just a veteran move by Slay and a great interception. So Wicks obviously needing to do a better job there of stacking makes that a little bit preventable, but I think Love also on a go route needs to try to keep that ball a little bit more outside, friendlier for his receiver. This is what we were missing the last few weeks. We've got Reed, obviously had a quiet end of the regular season, and just moving him around the formation and getting him the ball, right? So Eagles on second down habitually were playing off coverage about 8 yards, right? So you should be able to take those out routes all day. There you go. You've got a nice out route and a first down. They ran the same play on the same drive later for a completion. So there were plays that were successful. It's just we weren't consistent enough with it. And, eventually you have the injuries that pile up and make it too much to overcome. Yeah, these Eagles linebackers were a problem throughout the game, and you're going to see it, especially on this play. Ends up being a tackle for a loss here, but just kind of taking it back. You've essentially got 2 down blocks here. All right, you're going to be asking Kraft to block Bond, and Bond is just going to do a good job of avoiding that block. All right. Kraft is a little bit too late, so he's able to fill that gap and take on the puller, who is not able to make that play, right? Because he's not expecting that middle linebacker. He's not expecting the mic to get there because he knows that Kraft is supposed to be responsible for that. He misses. Bond makes contact, and Dean. Very good job of scraping here by Dean as well, getting in and making a tackle in the backfield. And we'll see it from the end zone angle as well. Just both of these Eagles linebackers were making plays. You can see here Bond slipping in on the inside. Goes unblocked, essentially, meeting Jacobs in the hole. And then Dean right there to follow. It's very hard to run the ball if you've got aggressive linebackers like that. All right, now to get back on track, something that LaFleur loves to do are these little screens. Here we're going into empty. Yeah, we're not going to have a screen here. But you can already see the overset here by Ryan is kind of selling that screen. And there's recognition by Dean, right? So Dean is, again, causing issues of all sorts for the Packers. You can see Tom not able to reach and that play is going nowhere, right? So 2-yard loss. Just trying to get, more manageable yards with a screen, trying to make up for that no gain on the first down. And you're just not able to. Dean has got good recognition here. He's just locking on to Kraft. He sees as soon as he does that release, right? As soon as he releases and just swings his hips, he's firing downhill, and he's going to make sure that he beats Tom there. And that is very hard to beat. All right, next play. This is a missed touchdown opportunity. And obviously the next play is going to lead to an attempted field goal. And that field goal is going to end up being no good. But man, this is supposed to be a touchdown. We're going to focus on the bottom of the screen here with Wilson. But Wilson, he's just running a hitch route here, hoping someone is going to come down to him, cover him. And we can see the pressure. And Love is going to roll out here. And look at the space. Look at the space. There is nobody in this part of the field. If Love is able to get this ball up, just lead him, that is a clear touchdown. But the problem here is Love's footwork. Right? He's dropping back, and he's got someone in his lap, and he's going to stutter. Look at his feet. He's stuttering, right? Instead of just making a decision and getting out. Because if he's able to get out here, right, either he takes a slide step or rolls out early, right, he's going to be able to kind of roll out, right? If he feels that pressure and he does a little spin, kind of like Russell Wilson used to do, right, a little spin out, he's going to be able to set his feet and make a play here. But he is stepping up because of that panic, and then comes inside, and he's going to switch the ball here to his left hand. So he is not ready to throw. Because he switches it to his left hand, now he's got to switch it back. Now he's got two hands on it, and by that point, it's already too late. He's got to flip his hips, and that ball is way out of bounds. So what could have been an easy touchdown ends up not being, just because that footwork and the panic set in by Love. Again, that rollout is, look at how much space he clears, right? If he's able to, he obviously isn't aware that this guy stumbles, but if he's able to turn his hips any sooner rather than rolling out an extra 5 yards, and he can rip that to that front pylon, that's a touchdown. But it's just late, not accurate. Packers have to kick a field goal, ends up missing. So just a disastrous drive there by the Packers. Here we've got a 2nd and 20. Seems like only a few players on the Packers had some fire. Reed was one of them. Here you've got just a big run after catch. Not too much to analyze there. Just great effort. And it really hurt, him going out late in the game. He had a pretty solid game up to his injury. But he and Jacobs seemed like the only guys that wanted to play. Everyone else, not so much into it. Wicks had an okay game, but there were really few players bringing the juice for the offense. Reed being one of them, with great effort here on a 2nd and 20, getting a first down. All right, next play, just at the snap. Offensive line issues just continued throughout this game. Almost picked off there. Luckily, the ball hit the ground, but we've got offensive line in the center here. It looks like a half slide to the left, right? So Myers is sliding to the left, and he realizes late, but I have no idea what the hell Sean Ryan is doing here. The backer's not coming, and he's going to let Jalen Carter just cross his face, and it puts Myers into a shitty situation, and he's just going to walk into the quarterback. Like, I don't know what type of pass protection this is, but if your quarterback is just, you're letting a 4-man rush, and you've got 2 guys here within the vicinity of the guy who's getting to the QB, just a simple, swim move there, just sliding right through. Like, how is Love supposed to make a play? I get it's a half slide, right? But you've got essentially a 3-tech here lined up on your shoulder, and you're not taking them. I'm very, very confused as to what Ryan is doing on that play. And you just can't do anything when your offensive line is doing that. All right, here we go. We got the second interception of the game. I know that LaFleur said Malik Heath was supposed to be at 20 yards here instead of 15, and he's trying to attribute that to the interception, but I just don't. Like, I get it. Malik Heath at 15, he looks open here. If I'm Love and I see this, I'm ripping it. All right, you got to try to lead him a little bit, and that's a first down. So he's throwing a bullet, and he just doesn't see Bond. All right, Bond's just playing center field there. He's reading the eyes. He can see ball's been thrown. I'm just reading the QB. And I think even though LaFleur says that this is supposed to be at 20 yards, all right, so he breaks this. It's a speed cut. If he's at 15 and he brings us 5 yards further, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's running straight into Gardner Johnson. All right, so Melton, he's crossing the field. He's going to get picked up by Blankenship. And then if Heath is 5 yards further, he's breaking down here. He's going to get picked up by Gardner Johnson. So his next option, right, is going to be this outlet who slipped and is going to have Bond there because that progression is just not going to be open. So this play is just not there. That play call, not ideal. It is a LaFleur staple. Jordan Love's eyes. I think if I saw that as a quarterback, I'd rip that ball too. But Bond does a good job of reading the eyes and making a play. Next play, we got some pressure coming from the Eagles, and this is just going to be a nice throw here by Love, probably one of his better throws of the game. And Wicks coming down with it. Not too much to look at. Just have to admire sometimes the poise, right? I know a lot of people are doubting Love after this performance, but not many quarterbacks are going to be sticking in the pocket there, delivering a shot as they're fading away. He stays up as well. That ball's got a pretty spiral on it as well. And it's put on the back shoulder of Wicks, which is a perfect ball. All right, Wicks able to come down with it. So we still have flashes of Love playing well. Wicks stepping up there. I know Wicks has had his issues with drops, but I think he's going to be a really, really good player for years to come. And Love obviously just needs consistency with his footwork, that accuracy, and the future is going to be okay. All right, up next, I'm going to play targeting the end zone here. And Dobbs obviously gets hurt on this play, bangs his head on the turf, unable to come down with it. I think there's better options on this play. I really do. He's going to get driven back here. Rasheed Walker. Everyone else does a good job, but he's able to roll out. I think, honestly, they're in a perfect position to lead him. Right? If Jacobs just gets the ball here, he's gone. Right? He's probably going to get caught here by Gardner Johnson. He's going to get shoved out. But Burks is firing down. Cooper DeJean is turning away, running with the receiver. His eyes are not there. So as soon as that receiver sees, he's just going to turn and block. And that's going to give an alleyway down to the 10 at least for Jacobs. And this safety is screaming over to the left, right, to help with Dobbs. And just this entire hand fighting, I guess it's illegal contact. I mean, it's hand fighting. It's playoff football. They're both pulling on each other. But Dobbs is not creating any separation, and he's watching it the entire time. So I don't know why he's deciding to throw that. Maybe he thinks he's getting a pass interference call, right, by giving his guy a shot because he sees the hand fighting. But Dobbs ending up having to catch that in double coverage when realistically, all right, if we take this back, let's just watch Burks. As soon as he's rolling out here, he's firing down. His eyes are on Love. He's not paying attention to Jacobs at all. If he just throws this out to Jacobs, first down, you're moving the chains. You live to play another down, but instead, you're throwing it into double coverage. So sometimes this decision making, I get it, they're down in the game and you want a big play, but sometimes, you just have to live with it. And of course, we've got a flag coming out on number 76 there. And we'll look at that from the other angle. I don't think that's a flag, but they call it anyway. So this play would have come back regardless. But we'll look at it from this angle as well. We'll see here. He's got him inside. I guess from this ref's angle, he sees the hand get extended, but he's essentially let go. All right. I think it's a very weak holding call, but you know, it does get called anyways and ends up being holding. So that play doesn't matter in the end, but there are just so many better reads for Love to make and better decisions that he could take. And then Dobbs getting hurt. You've got Malik Heath coming in, playing the spot that he would normally be in, and this is a touchdown 9 out of 10 times with Dobbs running that route. But Heath, he's going to get up. He's going to overstep outside the frame of his body. All right, he's going to stumble, and that throws off the timing. What would have been an easy touchdown. All right, he's just got to attack this leverage and then break out. All right, force that DB. He's got to stay square here. But instead, he's going to overstep. He's going to stumble, fall, and that ball is incomplete. So Dobbs, if he's still in, I think that's a touchdown. But Malik Heath struggling there to stay on his feet, not able to score. Next play, not going to break down too much here. Just, you know, Reed making a great play, getting open in the middle of the field, but taking a shot. And, you know, another big loss for the Packers. So just kind of with the way that this game played out, even if the Packers go through, who's playing next week? Right? You've got a bunch of injuries. Who's going to play next week and, you know, take on the Lions? It's just not looking good anyways. So realistically, playoffs probably would have ended next week in Detroit anyways if the offense had performed, just based on the number of injuries they've had. And again, we'll just fly through the last few plays. Just a great grown man run here by Jacobs. Dragon Burks. And almost in the end zone. Knee goes down, just shy. Just a great effort by Jacobs. Obviously able to score on the next play. Make it 10-16. Giving the Packers some life. Hey, you're within one touchdown. It's been a tough game all the way up to this point. Hey, we still got some life, guys. Then you've got, you know, trying to come back. You've got a questionable choice here by Love. I think a lot of people were wondering, hey, man, why are we running the ball in this situation? And it's just going to be a run up the middle. And I personally have no problem with it. It's just the offensive line loses. Like, you're running an inside zone designed to go here. You need 3 yards for a first down. So you're just trying to move the sticks. Love's going to check into this. All right. He's going to see, hey, we've got this massive gap here. Why not just run this? And it's just going to get blown up here. So I don't think that Myers needs to go for the double team here. All right. He's going to put a hand on him and then go straight to the backer. And you've got a double team here on Carter. But Carter is just a much better player. He's going to peek on the opposite shoulder here. He sees where the run is going. And that double team by Tom is actually going to make this a little bit worse. All right. So he's going to shove Carter into the play. All right. So even when we have an advantageous situation, we should be able to get 3 yards on this. But this double team helps the Eagles. Doesn't help us. All right, we got 2 plays left, so we'll just go through them very quickly. Got a deep shot here. Double pump by Love. Heath does a good job coming back to the ball. Ends up catching it. Clock running. At ref winding his arm, but it is all for naught. Again, we got Ryan in at center, and that's just a hold. Nothing you can do there. Glover falling down as well. So even though you get this big play, you get this completion, it's all for naught. Just sloppy offensive line play in the end. And then you've got the last play. You've got this deep ball, pocket rolling to the right, throwing back across. And I don't know what Bo Melton is meant to do here. All right, he's getting walled off. You got Bond all over him, head not even facing the ball. That is like textbook defensive pass interference. It's not going to change the game, but you got to call it. Like, it doesn't matter if there's a second defender there. If the receiver has no chance of coming back to the ball and trying to make a play, because if Bond isn't there, the receiver can take 2 steps and either catch the ball or break up the interception. So, referees, I can say this, I'm not employed by the NFL. The referees were shit this entire game for both sides, not just the Packers. There were some holding calls on the Eagles that were questionable as well, but I just don't understand how this is not defensive pass interference. And you see Bond there, head not turned around. You can see the exposed shoulder pads by Melton. It's just like, how is that not defensive pass interference? Of course, doesn't make a difference. That is the end of the game. Packers end up losing 22-10. A horrible offensive performance all around. You know, you got tons of injuries. You've got offensive line having issues. Jordan Love making inaccurate passes. Receivers making mistakes, not stacking. So it was just kind of this collection of mistakes by every single position group. And you're not going to win a football game when you're doing that. So that's going to do it for this video. Thank you guys for sticking around, listening to my rants. And I'll have another video coming out tomorrow, most likely, on the defense. And we'll break down, for the most part, they did well. Special teams was the biggest issue, and we'll look at special teams in the same video with the defense. So, again, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.